In the previous video, I rebuilt the gear shifter with new bushings, and at the end of that video, I found out that the gear shift lever sits a little bit biased towards the right. Notice that when I go to put it into first or second, the gear shifter springs back to the center, but when I go to the fifth, it doesn't. So I did a little bit of digging on the internet and found out that this is a very clear symptom of detent pin failure. And that means that the problem is not with the gear shifter itself, but actually inside of the transmission. And to fix it, I would need to drop the transmission down, and that's not something I can afford to do right now, because once you drop down the transmission, it's a good time to do the clutch and the remain seal, and as well to change the seals on the transmission, and so on and so forth. So it would cost me a small fortune. So instead of doing that, instead of rebuilding the detent pins, I think I will just change the gear oil and hope for the best. And the idea is that once brand new gear oil starts circulating through the transmission, that may or may not unclog the stuck detent pin that's causing this issue. So let's do that. The first step, of course, is to jack up the car. Now, with the car lifted, we need to remove this plastic cover. Now, from here we have plenty of access to a lot of stuff. So here is our draining plug, and here is the filler plug. So now, one important question: what kind of gear oil we need to use on this transmission? If you go towards the right side of the transmission, you will notice that there is a label over here that says MTF-LT1. I suppose MTF-LT1 stands for manual transmission fluid lifetime 1, whatever that means. And I don't know how is it in your country, but over here I can only get the MTF-LT2 fluid. But that's not a problem, because I looked it up on the internet, and I will link this document, I guess, over here. But it says that the MTF-LT2 liquid can be mixed with MTF-LT1 without any problem, and the MTF-LT1 can be substituted by the MTF-LT2 with no issues. So this is the one that I'm going to use. Now, next important detail that needs to be taken into consideration: this bottle, there is absolutely no way that you can put this in here to fill the transmission from the bottle. So instead of using this, I went out and bought a syringe like this that comes with these flexible tubes that can be bent like this and allow you to do this job. But before we can do any of that, let's see if the filler plug can be unbolted. This is a 17mm socket. I need more leverage. Alright, this is the fill plug. Now let's see this fella over here. Okay, now. This thing stinks. It stinks really bad. I should have left the filler plug open so that this didn't happen. I don't know if the camera manages to capture this, but there's definitely some chunks of metal in there. Wow. Let's stick a magnet in there and see if we can maybe fish any bigger chunks. And let's see if I've been granny shifting and not double clutching like I should. Yeah, there's like some little chunks, but not too bad. Definitely some metal particles in there. Yeah, there is a lot of metal flakes. But on the other hand, what do you expect from a 500,000 kilometer transmission? Carnage. Now this bottle already comes with a flexible hose like this, but the problem with that is that you cannot really put it in a vertical way, or you cannot really put it like this from the bottom and then pump the liquid somehow. So yeah, that's why I bought the syringe. Let's go. And this is how it looks. You just stick it in there and press this. Okay people, I've had a slight miscalculation. This is the old oil, and as you can see there is a 1.5 liters here, and this bottle only has 1 liter. So yesterday I had to go and buy another one of these to fill the transmission completely. I remember I looked at real OEM and I saw something like 1 liter, but I guess 1 liter was referring to the 1 liter bottle and not 1 liter of total capacity. So I cross-referenced this, the capacity of the gearbox with auto data, and yeah, now we know. Here we go, additional 0.5 liter. Okay, now the gearbox is full. Let's close this. Yeah, that's good enough for me. Maybe one more. Yeah, that's enough. And this one, also good enough. This got a little bit bent in the process, but we can put it like this and it's okay. As good as new. And we are done. Let's lower the car. Okay, let's see how this feels. It feels already so much smoother. Springs back, same as before. Let's turn on the car and see if we can hear any weird noises. Okay, this thing is in neutral. I don't hear any unusual sounds. Yeah, this seems okay, so let's take it on a drive. Well, I've been driving this car for a couple of miles, and I can definitely tell that the gearbox feels a lot smoother than before. But unfortunately, it did absolutely nothing to solve the detent pin issue. I think it will require much more, I don't know, force than just replacing the gearbox oil to liberate the clogged and stuck detent pin on the 5th gear. But hey, on the flip side, at least we did something that needed to be done a long time, because as far as I know, this is the first time that someone is changing the gearbox on this car.